I'm the owner of Bullseye Media. We are a 32-person media agency in downtown Minneapolis. We specialize in video, web, social media, creative campaigns, kind of your typical agency. The biggest difference with us is that we don't use any contractors. So we have all of these tools in-house for us to use, equipment all the way to the people. And one of the things that we have kind of coined over the last 4 to 5 years is something called positive market disruption. And I'm going to talk through that today, what that looks like, how to get there. And then I'm going to walk through how we do our marketing plans so you can actually see them and take something away from that, as well as some general FAQ. It's funny, when we sit down with people, most of the time, the last 30 minutes of our conversation is them just asking us questions that they typically don't get to ask marketing and media people. So I'll just be full disclosure and tell you. So what is positive market disruption? We kind of coined this phrase. I don't know if anyone is familiar with Fire Festival. When Fire Festival happened, they used this orange cube that they put on Instagram to get people to go to this website and click and buy tickets. Well, that's the opposite of positive market disruption. It was market disruption. It caused people to stop and stare and look and remember and then do something. So as we were kind of looking through this the last 3 or 4 years, we were trying to figure out why they were so successful. And we came up with a system of positive market disruption, not just market disruption. What that means is we want to deliver an experience to viewers or to anyone that they remember after one single encounter and then they want again. The second point is that we want to put the ball in their court so it makes them take action, a call to action on whatever you are marketing, whatever service. And then the biggest thing is to make sure it's positive, it needs to be backed up by how great you actually are. You can't say you're going to do something, say I have the best product, best service, whatever it is, and then not actually back it up. So this is probably what we're used to seeing. And I pulled these from Adobe, but these are all photos that are used on LinkedIn. You probably see these all the time. They're stock photos. And so what we really want to push and what we encourage people to do is to think a little bit differently. So can my audience predict what I'm going to say before I even say it? Consistency is good, predictability is not. I could probably go through a whole list of businesses in the Twin Cities and tell you what the next 10 things are that they're going to post on social media. I can probably tell you the next 10 videos that they're going to run. So we want to make sure that they're not expecting it. We want to be funny, thoughtful, kind of a little outrageous, but we want companies to be themselves and avoid being like everyone else. So we want to take content. What we tell people is we want to take content and time from your competitors and give it back to you. Most of the time, when we talk to marketing leaders, business owners, the thing that kind of makes them the most angry or the most upset, they'll say something like, oh, my competitor put this online and it really bothers me. And to me, I hear that and I go, that's a giant pain point that person is taking your time and energy away from you just from something that they released online. So what we want to do is we want to put the pressure back on them and be creative without breaking the bank while you're doing it. So what's a good example of positive market disruption? These are just visuals, and obviously marketing is a written in a visual medium, but you want to create images that someone will see at one time and they'll go, what was that? I don't even remember what that was, but I need to go back and find that again. And these are all linked to videos and we'll give this out when we're done. So how do you do it? First step is make a plan. And most people that we work with don't actually understand what a marketing plan looks like. So I'll go through that today so you can actually see that and we'll give this out so you can use it. We say you want to tether that plan to the ground. So we want you to have a plan. We want you to have a lot of great ideas, but most importantly, we want to make sure that it's actually stable and it works. So we want to take your plan and make sure it's very grounded. Think crazy creative and then take one step back from there. One of the things that we say all the time is like you want to poke the bear with what you're doing, but make sure that there's a cage in front of you when you do it. So we want to do that. And then what we want to do is we want to take that idea and we want to fly it through the air as high as it can go, as long as it's stapled to the ground. You want to build a foundation with several high-end media pieces, keep your message consistent, and then celebrate, learn, and act on your wins and your losses, really. That's one of the things that most people don't do. They fall in two camps. They either do marketing, whatever it is, for 15 to 30 days. They don't get the result they want. They say, I'm done with this. This doesn't work. Let's move on to something else. Happens all the time. Or they'll see consistent trends and they will refuse to act on them. And that is critical. If you see any sort of trend from data or from what you are seeing within your business, leads, clicks, whatever it is, you definitely need to act on it. So How do you build a positive market disruption or a media plan? There's 9 things that we do when we put a plan together, and I'll go through each one of these. Goals, brand overview, high-level strategy, a target market outline, digital ad strategy, content plan, creative concepts, SEO, budget. If you have these 9 things in your marketing plan, we can almost guarantee success if you follow them. So, goals. This is probably one of the tougher areas that people run into. They ask like, okay, what should I put down for goals? We recommend you do 5 qualitative and 5 quantitative when you're doing this. It's really easy to put down 10 or 15, but the truth of the matter is anyone who works in any sort of professional field knows that your day gets busy, and within 2 to 3 months you probably haven't even started, so stick with 5 qualitative and quantitative. Most of the time it's easier to put down quantitative, so you can probably, and I'll get to that in a second, increase in revenue. We want to improve our P&L by 5% or something like that. Qualitative is a little more difficult, but we recommend that you do this as well. So it could be as simple as we just want to establish an advertising strategy that we know works or even doesn't work. That's a big part of marketing too. Try, learn, try again. So quantitative, qualitative goals. And again, we'll hand this out when you're done, but I put some examples of what other clients have done. Some of the things too, depending on who you're working with in marketing with quantitative, I would absolutely avoid putting something on there about clicks, impressions, anything that you do that doesn't actually pay your mortgage or your cell phone bill. That is, we call it throwing smoke in a room. So it's really easy for a marketing agency or someone to come in to your office, give you a report, and most of the time you're like, I don't even know what I'm looking at here. This is like 10 pages of numbers. I don't understand this. You want to tie it to something that you can actually track. And again, I'll talk about this in a second. We are big proponents of digital marketing because you can use a lot of tools to actually track that from the click to the conversion. But what you want is you want to actually be able to track your revenue from the start of it to the end of it. And all your leads that come in should be able to be found through your marketing if you're doing it through digital. Digital marketing too provides you with the opportunity to give people, to convert people with single action. And what I mean by that is if you see a TV ad, there's probably double or triple action in that. You have to remember the company, remember the phone number, remember the website, go to the website, fill it out, and then, so you're talking about 2-3 steps. With digital marketing, it's like a click. Boom, I'm there, right there. I can do it from my phone, my tablet, my computer. Secondly, brand overview. Who are you, what separates you, and why should someone else give a damn? That's really important. This is hard for a lot of people to do because they get stuck in, they're built into the foundation of their company. They know it better than anyone else, and there's no refuting that. But you need to be completely objective about why someone else should care, what separates you, and who you really are as a company. Most people don't do that. And then it causes frustration because as you try to create your media and your marketing, you keep driving back to this. And if this message isn't true and real, or if this message needs to be changed, it causes pain 6-12 months down the road. So always be objective here. Who are you? What separates you? And why should someone else care? So I'll give you an example. Who are we? We're a marketing agency. What separates our company? Well, we don't use any contractors. Why should someone else care about that? That means that my own people are working on your media, okay, and I'm not pushing the cost of a contractor onto you. There you go, boom, boom, boom. Why should someone else care? Okay, now within your media plan, what you want to do is have what we call a high-level strategy. We recommend 5 key initiatives that you want to achieve this year, okay? It's kind of a mix of qualitative and quantitative goals. So some examples here that we really like. We want strong calls to action in all of our ad buys. What that means is that who's ever putting your ads online, okay, putting them in the newspaper, putting them on TV, you're not going to put anything online without some sort of call to action. And you want to hit that all year round, okay? Consistent online posting. We want to produce video monthly. We want to use the team to aid in brand awareness. I think having 5 key initiatives that you can achieve throughout the year is it's a goal that everyone can hit. And it's really important to have this. So have a high level of, if everything else fails, we're going to go back to these 5 things. We're going to get busy, business is going to be great, but we're always going to do these 5 things. We're always going to be moving forward with these 5 things. Target market outline. These are kind of fun to do. We do these for for all of our clients, and a lot of our clients, whether you're selling a product or a service, they have these different segments of their target market. What we like to do is we like to break it up by occupation, geolocation, the gender that they're targeting, age, if they are parents, and I'll get to this in a second why that's important, and then general notes. When you're doing online advertising, all of these things can be weighed into who you're targeting, so that's what we do. But this also paints a clearer picture of who this person is, okay? Is it like, are you gonna sell just to parents? You might, but being a parent sets you apart from everyone else in the world too. Parents think differently. Parents do different things. They shop different places. They drive different speed limits. They watch different shows. They're very different people most of the time. And so having these outlined is really critical. And that goes all the way to gender too. I think most people are scared to say, oh, well, we only sell to women, or we only sell to men. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, okay? If you sell mostly to women or mostly to men, they think very differently most of the time. So you just have to be honest about who you're targeting. Most companies are pretty split down the middle, but I think being objective with this is important, and it might even set a goal for your company of, we market too much to men, there's a huge opportunity for us to market to women. What can we do? How can we change how we market and package whatever we're doing to sell to a different demographic? The digital ad strategy, and what I mean by this is paid. This is kind of the next step. You want to, in this part of your strategy, you want to talk through what platforms do you want to use. Are you going to do quarterly, semi-annual, how many campaigns, your budget, media message, and influencers, and I'll talk through some of these, why they're important. Campaign format. So what we recommend is 3 campaigns a year. That's plenty. A lot of people operate on like a quarterly, so every 3 months you're running some sort of campaign, and that could mean anything for your business. It could mean you're really pushing a specific service. It could mean you're pushing a promotion. It could simply mean that at this time we're only going to market X. We only think that you should do it 3. We only think you should do 3 a year, and here's why. I think if you run something for 8 to 14 weeks, that gives you a little buffer time to analyze how it went, get the next one ready to go, and launch the next one. 3 months seems like a long time, but we all know that flies by before you know it. And what we fully recommend is taking the time to review what you've done and then making assertions and strategic decisions off of that. Okay, let's see. The most common platforms, we did ask this question a lot. Google, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, they all serve different purposes. The price for Google advertising has gone up over the last year, and that's because more and more people are online. So if you're running ads that are pay-per-click or you're running on certain phrases, the cost of that has increased because more and more people are online. We are steering more people towards LinkedIn right now, depending on what you're advertising. If you're doing product-based sales, we highly recommend using TikTok. And I didn't buy into this at first. I was definitely one of the holdouts. But using TikTok and influencers for your marketing opens up a whole swath of opportunities for people who are advertising a product. And then make sure that when you're doing digital advertising, you use the right tools to track ROI and conversions. That's really important. Most of the time with this, you get what you pay for. So if someone says they're going to do it for $300, it's probably not going to work, is what I would say. Okay, there's 3 steps to a content plan. The first one is you want to put the type of media you want to make and a high-level vision for it. This could be anything from blogs, articles, videos, whatever it is. Like, I want to create, this type of content throughout the year. Okay, pretty straightforward. Then you want to put in who's going to make it. You want to assign people the job of who's going to do what within your organization. If you're the marketing leader or the owner or the person leading the charge, do not put it all on yourself because it will not get done. So I would assign this out to people, and this also gives them a real deadline to hit. And then a release strategy. These are pretty straightforward. I wouldn't put dates on this when you first do it. As you get the marketing plan approved, then I would start to put dates on stuff. So for example, we want video content to be released at least 1 to 2 times per quarter and promoted through paid advertising. Boom, done. We have it in there. Now you assign that task to someone within your organization or you take that on yourself. Creative concepts. This is kind of fun. So I think, and I'm going to show you this in a second here, what we recommend from a media perspective, but everyone should have a couple of creative ideas that they want to do throughout the year. And these are storyboards we drew, but I mean, I draw storyboards all the time. I have no artistic ability whatsoever. You can literally just map it out what you want to do. And I'll kind of go through how to shoot stuff with your cell phone too, so you know how to do that. But have a couple of creative concepts in here of, we want to create this cool idea. Here's this idea we have. And even if you don't get it done, you at least have it for the next year. And then you want to put other media assets that will accompany that when you release it, okay? So if we do a staple video for the year, what social media posts, what blogs, mailers, what's going to go with it when we do it? And then again, you want to set timelines, assign responsibilities, and outline a budget. SEO, one of the final pieces to the media plan. What goes into SEO? This is probably one of our biggest questions we get asked all the time. Is this worth it? How does it work? What should I do to do it? So we typically don't hand this out, but over the last 2 years, we basically tried to crack the SEO algorithm for what we believe Google uses to rank people as high as possible. I wasn't a math guy growing up, but I kind of get a kick out of this. Basically, what we figured out, this is like Google's Coca-Cola recipe, is that if you do these different buckets, you will achieve higher SEO. The times 3 times 2 in this one don't necessarily mean doing it 3 times, 2 times. It just means the area of emphasis. But how do you generate more SEO? The baseline thing that we tell people all the time is content. Okay, and that could be articles, that could be videos, that could be anything you have to link to your website. The second one right now that's kind of risen to the top is reviews. Believe it or not, Google reviews and getting people to review you online, they love it. There's been a lot of clients we have that are outranking companies 5 to 10 times their size, not because we're smarter than everyone, it's just because we push doing content and doing Google reviews. Google does also reward people for doing ad spend. So I know earlier I said Google costs the most, but spending a couple $100 a month on Google does really help you. So this is what we firmly believe is the equation. If someone is doing SEO on your website, you should be asking kind of like what their monthly work plan looks like. And what they should be doing is they should be touching your website probably about once every 2 to 3 weeks. I wouldn't do it more than that. And the reason why I say that is because Google will, they call it crawling. They'll crawl websites somewhere between 4 and 16 weeks. So if you were working on your website or the same page on your website every week and you kept doing it and Google didn't have the chance to crawl it, you may not even know what effect that had on your website. So they should be working on it every 2 to 3 weeks. They should be creating a couple new pages on your website every quarter. And you should be writing some sort of article or blog once a month. Adding as many photos, videos, and focusing on making your website as fast as possible. Giving yourself, spending like $8 to $10 more on server space every month to just make your website fly faster helps you rank higher on Google. They really like that. So anyway. Okay, the budget. Set a budget. I would break it down really, really simply. We just did one for a giant logistics company. It was about 8 deep. That's all you want to do. You just want to focus on the things that matter within the marketing spend. So I'd set amounts for web development, SEO, media, and ad spend. Other stuff that I would potentially budget for: creative writing, graphic design, social media, and ad placement. If you're going to work with an agency, I would steer away from people that charge points on ad buy. So most of the time you want to work with someone who does a flat fee on stuff. And the reason why I say that is because you want to be able to call them all the time and just talk through how it's doing and evaluate it on a weekly basis. You don't want them to recommend more ad spend because it makes them more money. You want them to recommend the right amount of ad spend for you. So now that you kind of have a plan, what are kind of the final steps and tips for positive market disruption? Digital. Don't be afraid to go digital. When COVID hit, most people don't know this, but the internet was breaking records with how many people were online, and that really hasn't stopped. It's plateaued a little bit, but there's more people online now than there ever has been before. And especially as the shift has gone from we're going to do hybrid models of people working from home or work, like that is so critical with everything that's going on in marketing right now. You can monitor everything so much like on a deeper level with digital, and that's what we love about it. We know that if someone goes and fills out a form, we know where they came from. if someone clicks on your ad, watches your ad, goes to your website, you can remarket to them easily with this. So you can follow them around. So if you've ever looked at golf clubs online and then you see ads for golf clubs, we're the jerks that do that. We follow you around because we know where you've gone, and so we can place a tag on your website and just follow you around. So that's why you absolutely want to go digital. Don't be afraid to do it. I know it can be scary because you don't understand how it works, but there's a lot of really great tools out there. Even AdWords Express, that's a good one. So Google AdWords has an Express version that anyone can use. It's really simple to do. I would do that. There's a plugin on Chrome. It's called Vidyard. It allows you to send videos and create videos in your office and send intro videos to people instead of emails. That's a really cool tool to use. It's all digital now. You can also get free plugins from HubSpot, Salesforce, stuff like that allows you to really map stuff out. And also, if you use AdWords Express, Google, so if you just start spending $1 a month, Google, you then have their whole support system behind you. So you can chat with Google and just ask questions. The way that I learned this really was I opened up the chat window and I'd sit there with the Google rep for hours and go through campaign by campaign. And so just by doing that and spending, an hour a quarter learning this stuff, you'll kind of become an expert on your own. Video. People ask us all the time, do you need video? Yes, you absolutely need video. Earlier I talked about kind of building the foundational media pieces. What we recommend if you're going to start out with video is you want 3 key video pieces right away. You want an about us, in our services or products, and our process, how you do what you do. We wouldn't make anything over a minute. 30 seconds to a minute is kind of what we want to shoot for. If you have a little bit more time, we have the nice to meet me. We want like meet me videos for salespeople, an animation outlining services, and an animation on what to expect when a customer contacts you. This one's really interesting. The animation, what to expect when a customer contacts you. So everyone on their website has a form, like contact us, here's a form. Has anyone heard of Marcus Sheridan? Does anyone know who that guy is? The pool guy? Okay. So he's a pool guy. He made pools. And like 8 to 10 years ago, he wrote a blog outlining the best pool guys in his area. And he wasn't on the list. He was just like, here's the top 5 or 10 that I know in my area. It blew up. It blew up because people were going to his website to figure out who the best pool guys were. And so he created this theory. It was called They Ask, You Answer. And it basically means that if there's any question, there's no point in lying about it or hiding it. Just tell people what your price is. Tell them how it works. So if you create an animation on what to expect when a customer contacts you and you put it on that contact form, it increases your conversion by 800%. So that video is 30 seconds long, and all it says is, hey, here's what's going to happen when you contact us. Here's what we're going to do with your data. Here's what you can expect. That's it. It increases it 800% if you put that on your contact form on your website. And I didn't believe it at first, so we tried it out with ourselves, and we tried it with a couple of clients, and it worked. And this guy just did it by writing a blog and then exploring on this, and now he's this big marketing guy. And then if you have a ton of creative bandwidth, I would do 2 creative, what we call narrative campaigns. And what I mean by that is something that's scripted, different. We tend to move towards the humor route. That's what we do. It obviously depends on the area of business that you work in. But this is, I cannot emphasize this enough. Video is paramount. Google rewards video. Video helps with biz dev. Video helps with recruiting right now, which I know is a big pain point for a lot of people, is getting staffed up. So I would 100% do video, and you can do it yourself. When you're shooting video on your own, a couple of quick tips. Turn your cell phone sideways, horizontal. Don't do it vertical. I know there was this phase for a while of like, do it vertical, don't do it vertical. Okay, it's going to cause all sorts of problems, because if you need to do anything to the video, put it anywhere. Like there's some platforms that just do not work well going vertical. Turn it horizontal. Have you seen those videos of people like walking around all the time talking, and they're like 3 minutes long? There's all those promo videos online. Don't do that. Okay, 1 minute. Don't walk around as much. Be a little more static with what you're doing. And make sure the sound is good. Don't be under some sort of vent fan. And then you always want to be backlit as much as possible, as long as it's not at sunset. So what I mean by that is you want the sun to be like 3/4 here and lighting you this way. If it's directly behind you, you're going to be a shadow face. If you're out at high noon, a lot of times it won't look good as well either. So you want to be kind of like side backlit. when you're doing it. And sound. Please don't do it outside with the wind going. It's a pet peeve of mine, but anyway. Okay, we absolutely recommend starting small too. I think regardless of if it's someone within your organization or you're working with someone, they always want the whole cookie before they take a little crumb off. Like I would start small with your marketing. I firmly believe that. That's probably the best piece of advice I've gotten with anything in business is like start small. Start small, try, learn, and try again. So I do believe quality wins every time. I think if you're starting small doesn't necessarily mean doing something as cheap as possible. It means like let's start with one little piece, then let's go to the next and the next phase. Absolutely start small, and when in doubt, make it great. Your media is a direct reflection of your end service. I do believe this. If you see some of the best media, Geico, State Farm, those are kind of the big ones right now that are spending a lot of money. Best Buy, Coca-Cola, their media is really good. And it's a direct reflection of their brand. You don't need to spend $50,000 to create a video, but you could spend an extra couple hours to make something well written, to make something look good visually. That is definitely well worth your time. And I do believe you 100% get what you pay for. So starting small, build your foundation. It kind of goes back to those foundational media pieces. Start with those and kind of go from there. Think like your target market. What do they do in their free time? Who are they as people? Good example, we work with a shampoo brand. You would think that, oh, we're going to market the shampoo. No, you don't want to just market the shampoo. You want to market what these women do in their free time. So where are they actually looking online? What are they interested in outside of washing their hair? Because they're going to wash their hair, but we want them to learn other things and get other free resources, okay? Maybe we're just going to give them cooking tips. Maybe we want to give them workout videos. It doesn't matter. We want to give them something other than what the actual thing is. And that's really hard for people to do because if you're a sheet metal fabricator, you're like, what the hell am I supposed to put online that's not sheet metal? You know what I mean? Like that's what I do. I don't know. What do people who buy from you do? Well, they probably like to go golfing on the weekend, okay? They probably are interested in their family. They like family events. They like local events. So putting some of this stuff in your marketing is really important. And don't always try to appeal to your whole target market. You'll end up saying nothing when you do that. So you'll have all these different target market breakdowns. It's often better to speak to one person in your market and then grow from there. Start small and grow. Lastly, simple is often more creative. So everyone, I would encourage you to have some sort of internal meeting, brainstorming meeting, and come up with ideas. That's probably big. If you're going to hire an agency too, like they'll come in with ideas, but your agency should listen first with your ideas, but keep it simple. One shot of a guy running through a field by himself is going to be more powerful than 50 different camera angles a lot of times. So think of like Fargo and the Coen brothers. Like that, they made this theory of like single shot movement so iconic of what they've done. So I would highly recommend keeping it simple. A simple graph with one line can often be a more compelling story than a line with 8 lines, a chart with 8 lines. So. Okay, and then I put some FAQs together of what people ask us all the time. These are the top questions we get asked. How much should I spend on digital ads? Typically, we say if you're going to do it locally, this is all local, $1,000 should be your floor. That should be your minimum. Right now, there's just so much competition. We do recommend it, but that should be your floor. A good local budget, depending on the size of your business, is somewhere between $2.5 and $4,000. Should I film my own videos? Yes, absolutely. You should film some yourself if you can. Those could be sales introduction videos. Those could be video blogs. Like you can absolutely do them yourselves, 100%. Keep it short. How much does a video cost? I put it in here. Typically your non-creative stuff, and what I mean by that is interview style, you're 4 to 8. Creative is 8 to 15, and animation is about 1.5 to $3,000 a minute. It's typically what you get. Best type of media to invest in, video, but you want to do media that works in conversation with multiple platforms. So if you're running a video ad or some sort of display ad, that image should also be on the homepage of your website, and that should also be in your social media. We call that cross-platform marketing. So if you're really promoting some sort of article, like we're working with a foundry right now that does furnace fans, really cool stuff. They're they're going to have a testimonial. The testimonial is going to be their ad. Testimonial is going to be on the front page of their website. Testimonial is going to be on the funnel to get them to the contact page, and it's all going to look the same across. So wherever you go within that campaign, it's always going to be consistent. You don't want people to fall off as they work through your campaign. Otherwise, they're going to get confused. If they see furnace fans over here, and then they go here and they're talking about, belts or something like that within the engine of a cat truck, you're going to run into problems. How often should I post on social media? 2 times a week. I would do it 2 times a week. If you're really ambitious, you can do 3. We recommend 3 if you're selling a product. You don't want to get lost. So people are active on social media, but what we have seen happen is if you're posting 4, 5, 6 times a week, customers may miss your message, clients may miss your message early on in the week, and then that's just a waste of everyone's time. So we recommend 2 times a week. Yes, you should post on social media. We actually have a word for this. We call this our Costco hot dog, social media. Here's why. If you go to Costco, a lot of times, at least I found, people within our organization, the men in particular, will go to Costco because they get to get the hot dog. But really, when you're at Costco, you buy a bunch of other stuff while you're there. The hot dog for Costco is essentially their loss leader. Okay, you'll go there for the hot dog, but you're gonna buy other stuff when you're there. Social media for a lot of businesses functions this way. You will not live or die off of social media. Your business is not gonna go under if you don't post on social media. But it's kind of like this pain in the butt thing that you're like, I know I need to do. So you should post on social media because it gets people engaged with your content. It is your Costco hot dog a lot of times. If you're not running ads. If you're running ads, that's a different story, but you should post on there because it gets people interested in the next part of you. You may not see a direct conversion all the time from every social media post, but your Costco hot dog will get them in the room at least talking and thinking about you. Is blogging important? I feel like this has been around since the late 80s. It is. But one of the things that we would recommend that's different is LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, you can write articles. I don't know if anyone's seen this. You can write articles like they come from yourself and link them back to your company. One of the people in a networking group I'm in is a guy who does real estate development. Really nice guy. Not a great public speaker, but he's one of the top 10 followed people on LinkedIn. And all he was doing was posting a motivational quote and then 4 sentences about what it means to him. And he was doing it once a week for a year. And he's gotten more leads out of just posting these articles of motivational quotes. So we would absolutely recommend posting articles for yourself on LinkedIn, but have your sales team do that too. If you guys are in biz dev or anyone who's working in recruiting as well. How much should SEO cost? A good SEO company will charge you about $900 to $3,000. If you start to move less than that, I would seriously question the results that they're getting. If you have someone doing this for you, you want to get like a scope of work of what they're doing every month, and then you want to check it every quarter. That's what you want to do, but you do get what you pay for. How long does it take to achieve results or ROI in marketing? 6 to 12 months is what we like to tell people. It's kind of like going to the gym. If you go to the gym, for a month, like you're really not going to see any results, and you're just going to get mad that you went for a couple times in a month, and it's just going in the wrong direction. So 6 to 12 months. Internal versus outsourced, I think it really does depend on budget. There's a lot of companies that I would absolutely not recommend hiring some sort of marketing company or agency. I think you can probably handle it internally. It just depends on what your goals are for the year and your time. One of the things that we have found is that we've seen presidents, owners, CFOs, where they're trying to handle the marketing, and a better use of their time is to go out and find more work, find the right people. And so getting some of that off of their plate is definitely worth it. You can grow your organization exponentially, but it really does depend. And then probably the most common question we get, believe it or not, is how much does a new website cost? I don't know why, but it's typically 8 to 20 for non-ecom and 25 to 50 for ecom. So I know I flew through that. I didn't want to take up your time. Is there any questions?
You mentioned TikTok.
TikTok, yeah. I fought it for a long time. I was probably the reason within our company that we didn't do it for a long time, because I was like, this is stupid. I don't like this. But we started to explore it in the middle of last year. And what we found is people who are selling products and you're using influencers through TikTok, you can really explode your sales because the way the TikTok system is set up is that it will reserve content to people that is old by random. So it's kind of like if something gets a lot of views 2 months ago and you haven't been on TikTok as much or you've been searching for something, it will literally show you old content again on its own and put it to the top of your feed. So we work with a lot of influencers to sell products, and typically you're going to see within 2 to 5 days are the most sales that come from that influencer. With TikTok, it gets extended to like 15 or 20 days of you can see recurring sales of a product through an influencer because content keeps getting reserved to people who haven't even seen it yet. I think that's what TikTok does if you haven't clicked on it. So, I mean, if you're doing services, I don't think it's as important, but if you're selling a product to consumers, if you're doing B2C, I highly recommend using TikTok. Then it's free.
Not so much for services?
No, not so much. It would be interesting to explore doing something kind of wacky and crazy where you're posting TikTok videos that don't have a whole lot to do with your services, but it keeps people top of mind. I could probably get behind that, but I just don't see it as much with services.
We're in a unique situation in which we don't have the ability to sell outside of the area we can deliver a product to.
Mm-hmm.
We're a lubricant company, so we can't sell to Florida because we can't get a truck down.
Yep.
So some of these platforms like TikTok are just kind of, they don't offer geo-targeting unless I'm mistaken. That's kind of everyone gets it.
Yeah, TikTok. So TikTok advertising just kind of got pushed up to a new level. I don't think they offer geo. The other ones definitely do offer geo, but TikTok does not. If you were focused on a geo area, you probably want to just find people in your local area that do it, but you still run into the problem that if they have followers out of state and someone buys something, that can cause a problem. So yeah, I would steer kind of away from TikTok there. Oh, actually, this is really interesting too, now that you're bringing this up. If you're going to work with influencers, do your vetting. Has anyone heard of influencer pods? Has anyone heard of this before? I just learned about this year. So you get these influencers that have hundreds of thousands of followers, million followers, okay, and you go down their comments like, oh my God, everyone's commenting. This is the person. We're gonna sign them up. Well, apparently, these influencers get together in groups and they're like, hey, we're all gonna comment on each other's stuff all the time. So it looks like they're getting a lot of engagement on everything. Oh, I need to buy that. I'm gonna go buy that, and then no one buys it. It's because it's part of their like group deal. And then if you pay one, they like pyramid scheme the money down to everyone within their pod once they start to sign people up. So you absolutely have to do your vetting, and the way to figure this out is you say, we're gonna give you X amount plus commission if you sell it. And if they say, I only work for a flat fee, I probably would run. I would run from them. And I learned that from experience as we got burned. So, yeah.
What's the best place to look for influencers?
We have a team of people that does it. I mean, it's, for lack of a better term, it's kind of a crapshoot, to be honest. You want to check their profile, you want to check their blog, you probably want to do like a quick Google search on them to see where they came from. And then you want to check multiple, like if you find one that you really like, check multiple posts, and if the same people are commenting on all their stuff all the time, my guess is they're with some sort of deal with other people all in one group. So I would be really careful. If you're gonna do influencers, I'd recommend that you start really local. So find someone that's local. Good example is like if you listen to a radio show, these people have pretty good followings on their social media bases, and those people will be honest and true. And I would start with something local like that. You can probably get someone for $400 or $500 to post once or twice, and see how that goes before you go national with it or bigger.
So that's radio host, you're saying?
Yeah, like so for instance, we work with KDWB a lot, and like Dave and Jenny they have really good follower bases. They're loyal people. I'd probably say 80% of them are based in the Twin Cities. And it's also good, it also is a good way to kind of get your feet wet because you can actually go meet them face to face, and they'll talk to you and they'll call you, and it's not just done through virtual, so you can actually see them and kind of talk through like what you want them to post and how you want them to do it. And they tend to care about the local market a little bit more, so I'd probably start there. Any other questions? Yeah. Go ahead.
So you mentioned that 3 campaigns a year is plenty.
Yeah.
And with our marketing group, I think we find ourselves trying to do too many things, and 3 of them are here. So, how do you define, what is a campaign in your eyes?
Sure. Most of the time when we're doing it, we have some sort of foundational staple. We're a video company, so we believe in video. Like, you have a video, okay? We're going to run this for 3 months. We're going to put X amount of dollars behind it. We're going to run these blogs underneath it. We're going to have your whole sales team. Your sales team has jobs to do when they do this. So Don, Sherry, and Ron, you're posting these 3 things on your LinkedIn over the course of these months, and we start running. We start to do quarterly check-ins with that. So it all starts with like one big piece and then sub-pieces beneath it. You will, how do I say this nicely? I will beat any company that's like, oh, I'm just going to put one video out and throw a bunch of money behind it. I'll kick your ass all day long, because you want to work with the individual people in your organization. That's what you should be doing. Anyone who, like, marketing and sales tends to do this all the time, okay? Sales is like, I hate the marketing people. They're too creative. They're not listening to me, okay? This customer just wants a price sheet. And marketing's like, yeah, but we can make it really creative and cool. And they're like, why don't you just shut up and give me the thing? And marketing's like, no, but we can do it more creative. And so they go like this, and they hate each other. And most of the time what happens is some sort of C-level person sits in between them, and they end up hating both of them, because they're like, can you come in and talk to both of them? Because I don't want to deal with them. So these people should be working together. Marketing is sales, and sales is marketing. My background was in sales, but when I started to work in marketing, I was like, this is the same thing. You're talking about the same thing. So they should be married all the time, which means if marketing's going to run something, let's listen to sales, and let's give sales jobs to do while the marketing campaign runs, and it weaves itself together. And salespeople are notorious for saying, I want more stuff. Give me more stuff. Okay, we'll give you more stuff. Give you as much stuff as you want. And when they're not doing their job, it gives you a great checkpoint to go, hey, dude, I gave you all this stuff. You didn't do what you're supposed to. My turn. Now we're going to do it my way. So I would highly recommend doing three a year with one big, whatever it is, promotion, campaign, staple video, and then give people tasks underneath them to build the house, all the way through.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
I was just curious, so maybe I'm not the only one in the room who has been around a device like an Alexa or a Google Mini or my phone. I find myself seeing ads related to something that I was talking about
Oh, yeah.
in the last 24 now. Part of me says that's creepy, part of me says I want to do that so I can talk to people who might be talking about our product. Is that something that comes from the platforms themselves? Who are listening to data and saying you now fit the demographic of this guy who has a campaign looking for things like you? Or
That's a good question. So full disclosure, I don't know if they're listening to you. Personally, I do believe they are. We do some work with John Deere, and for some reason we're able to hit farmers in the middle of nowhere that have Alexas, and we just know that, I don't know how they start buying from them, but they're talking about something with their wife and their baler that they have to do, or you know what I mean, I need a new corn head, and all of a sudden we get them, because these people are not savvy, like they're not Googling this stuff around. So I do think they are listening to you. I've probably fallen victim to that too. I mean, I remember my wife and I were going to go to a movie, and I was talking about the movie. I'd never emailed it, and all of a sudden I was getting ads for the movie on my phone. And I was like, okay, I work in this field, so this is kind of cool, but not really at the same time. Yeah, so I do think that they are listening. We haven't done any advertising like with like Alexa in particular. We've done a lot with Amazon, and they're tracking you. So I would just embrace it while you can. There's probably nothing you can do about it. Yeah.
When my brother in New York was talking about my college, I got served within 2 hours and a half for my college here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So it's hard to
Yeah.
it's not happening, but I'm not sure. I'd like to at least learn about it so you can weigh the creepy factor versus the effectiveness factor and say, but I don't know how it happens.
Yeah, so it all boils down to keywords. So as soon as you start saying certain words, it kind of puts your online profile into a bucket, essentially. And then from there, you have some choices as a business. So you can, not to get all nerdy, but you can do like broad match keywords, phrase match, exact match, stuff like that. So you can like literally target people who are like Wartburg College. They just say that, or I need to go to college in Iowa, you know what I mean? We can do stuff like that. But it also builds out your profile, because like on Facebook, for example, you can build something called a lookalike audience, where you literally can just take your email list, you import it into Facebook, it finds the people that are associated with those emails, breaks them down who they are as a person, and then it creates a carbon copy of those people in the same geo area. So, if you're going after, if you need people who OEMs that buy something in industrial manufacturing, you upload them into Facebook, it'll literally find more OEMs that are kind of like a mirror image of them.
What's that called?
A lookalike audience. You can do it on Google, you can do it on Facebook, you can do it on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Any examples, Brian, of employment brand? If there's a couple companies in this room, I'm just going to go out on a limb, that have frontline staffing challenges, and have you had clients utilize you for any kind of recruiting?
It's kind of one of our areas of specialty. So we work with a ton of recruiting firms across the country. We are the marketing agency for an organization called AFA, and they do accounting and finance recruiting. So we work with about 12 of those around the country, but we also work with some big companies, Country Hearth Bread, Speedy Delivery, By the Yard, on hiring right now. That is a giant pain point for a lot of people. So for instance, we know that some of these big organizations need to hire 400 people tomorrow. And if they don't hire them tomorrow, then they're losing X amount of millions of dollars. I know it for a fact. So yes, we do a ton of that work, a ton of it. And we started working with recruiters 5-6 years ago. And we kind of built this formula to how to get people to convert. I didn't think I'd be talking about this, but it's kind of cool. So we built this funnel thing that we put on websites where it literally takes the candidate through 10 to 12 questions. So we find the candidate with a video or an ad online, drop them on the funnel, they answer the 10 questions. Pretty typical, okay? But the questions, what we have a back-end score on them. And we have found trends based on the industry that you're working on, that how you phrase these questions and the point values, you can literally evaluate the candidate, and we can know with almost 75 or 80% certainty if this person's gonna have retention for 3, 6, 9, or 12 months. On top of that, what we do is we built in the system where we say like, okay, watch this 1-minute video and tell us what you think about it. Well, we built the system so we know if they're lying. If they answer the question and they didn't watch the video, or they didn't watch the video all the way through. So you can actually vet the candidate before they even come in the room. Now, right now it's a little bit different because people are like, I just need bodies. I need bodies so bad within my company. But yeah, we've built a lot of hiring funnels to get people to apply to jobs. I would definitely use video, and I would use Facebook, to be honest. Right now, Indeed is like overwhelmed with job applications. So the price to work on Indeed is skyrocketed. So I would use Facebook, depending on the level of person. So if you're looking at someone who's probably gonna work at more of a blue collar industry, I'd use Facebook to recruit them. If you're gonna do more of a white collar job, I probably would go to LinkedIn, but I would use video to do it. I would 100% use video to do it. Put them in a funnel. That's what I would recommend.
Brian, do you have any examples of some of the videos that you?
Yeah, I got a couple. So let me just pull this. Okay, so here's one that we did for Country Hearth a while ago. This one actually so it's been uploaded so many times. This one got like 4 or 5 million views on it. This is a good example of just keeping it simple. I hope the audio comes through here, but. I was actually shown some videos in stores of people actually doing that afterwards, and we got in trouble after we did that. But we had guys that were doing that in stores. And then this is one we did for a recruiter, and this is kind of the Coen brothers technique. Oh, that one did pretty well too. We went after Robert Half, so that was all the red is Robert Half, their colors. It's their font. It's everything like that. So this company down in Texas, they had people from Robert Half calling them, asking if they use their brand, and they were all for it. They're like, this is awesome. Like let's go to war with the big guy. So that one did pretty well too. If you're going to do recruiting content, you definitely want to get people on camera that are at the level of the person you're going to hire. That's really important. So for instance, we have found at Country Hearth that they get more applications for people that work within the actual department and do the work than if their manager talks on camera. It was especially true. So they have roles for like sanitation, production, stuff like that. If you did the production person to look in the camera or look to the person saying like, this is a great job, I love working here, that person's gonna listen to that person. I think it's like 60% more of the time than they are if someone who's a manager in a tie or that they, you know what I mean? But if you're looking for like a recruiter, or if you're looking for someone in finance, like they wanna see someone who looks like they're in finance, they talk to the people that they resonate with the most. Every once in a while, you'll find a candidate, someone who wants to be the CEO, but that's a lot more rare in this market right now. So if you're gonna do it, you can do it with your phone too. I mean, just make sure it looks good, add a little sound at the bottom and just get them to talk. So, yeah.
Would you recommend from a length standpoint, if you're doing a recruiting Facebook, 30 seconds?
Yeah, 30 seconds.
More than that gets too much.
Recruiting, you probably can go up to about a minute. 90 seconds would be the max. The first 3 seconds of your video should tell the story of what you're going to be talking about. So, if you're going to be doing a bread company, like find the coolest shot you can think of and open with that. I wouldn't just open with the person. Open with something cool. Your logo can be cool. Most people have really cool logos, so putting your logo on white and just making it move a little bit is really cool too. People will always remember that. Any other questions? Cool.
And you had mentioned,
Yeah.
you mentioned that you can feed your salespeople some content that they can then push out on LinkedIn and link it back to the company.
Oh yeah,
The second part of that, I'm wondering if you can expand on. So we could give our salespeople a package once a month to say, this is what you publish on social, it's a new video, it's a blog post. How do they go about the mechanism linking back to the company? They just tag the company in their post?
in the post and then in the body of, so like in the caption and then in the body of it too. I wouldn't. It's so important, and I think a lot of salespeople will overthink it. They'll think it's a lot of work if you're going to have them write it themselves. Just no typos. Keep it short. 150 words. Really short. 2 paragraphs, paragraph and a half, and then if you're on LinkedIn on your profile, there's a thing at the top that says article, and you hit the article button. If you have anyone in your organization that's good with Canva or a graphic designer that have them make a little image on the top, and then if your salesperson is posting once a month, once every other month, I mean, the all-stars probably do it twice a month, and they definitely see retention from it. LinkedIn kind of opened stuff up about a year ago, so you can actually see who follows your company now, which they didn't used to do that. So you can go into your company profile, see all your followers, and what we have recommended to our clients is you take your best biz dev person, your best one, not all of them, and you stick them on that list that's on LinkedIn, because you can see every single one of those people, and they can start to message them individually because they're just sitting there now. And that was a new feature that LinkedIn rolled out because people were asking for it all the time.
So when people are posting stuff on LinkedIn, would you recommend them taking, so like if you post a monthly blog on the website, would you recommend them like linking from the blog on the website, or linking from the post to the company page post on Facebook? So like sharing the company post, or doing a brand, or doing like organic?
They should be sharing from the company post. So the company will post something, they share it, but then that person should also be doing their individual content over the top of it. Yeah, always want to share. You always want to share the parent company if you can. Yep.
2 questions related to YouTube, the ads at the beginning of YouTube videos.
Yep.
One is, do you think that's effective? And 2, if so, how much much time do you have to capture somebody's attention? And I know that skip comes up in 10 seconds or so.
It comes up at 5.
5 seconds.
Yeah.
How do you get somebody's attention in 5 seconds?
I think it depends on how you open it up. When you do, so if you're going to do video ads, which I recommend you do, you can choose in Google what you're going to do. You can do non-skippable, skippable. They have these ones called bumper ads. I don't know why they call them that. Those are just like the 6-second ones or whatever. Have a plan for what you're going to do. If you're going to do the skippable ones, like that should be part of your plan where you're going to make the video. So within the first 5 seconds, guys, I got to make someone go like, hesitate. Like, okay, I'm going to watch 5 more seconds of this. And then you're going to buy 5 more seconds and buy 5 more seconds. You're just trying to buy as much time as possible. Do you do video ads right now? You sound like you do. Oh, okay. You actually don't pay unless they click on it. That's the coolest part about it. So you're really just trying to buy as much time to almost the very end of it to either, because if they get through 30 seconds of a video, they're going to remember you. Or you want them to click on it. If they don't click on it, you don't pay for it. So I would keep that in mind as you're making your content. Which one you're going to do. If you're going to do the 6-second ads, like we want to get as creative and wacky in 6 seconds as possible. If we're going to do the non-skippable ones where they have to watch the whole thing all the way through, those cost a little bit more to do. But you know that's part of your plan then. Then I have a little bit more time to lure people in.
So how does that work? You don't pay? You explain that.
Yeah, so you don't pay for YouTube ads unless they click or watch it all the way through.
Really?
Yeah, kind of cool. And video advertising is
I remember like last year during the election, no matter where you went on YouTube for anything, there would be some local, local state representatives.
Oh, yeah.
Federal, so they're.
A lot of people actually watch those all the way through because these people wouldn't do it if they weren't, like the platforms wouldn't do it if they weren't making money. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Video advertising is pretty cheap. Typically you're going to be somewhere, it used to be about 1 to 2 cents a view. Now you're probably at like 4 to 10 cents a view right now with stuff. Clicks, it all depends on the keywords that you're running on. If you're a personal injury attorney, you're going to spend $30, $40 a click to get people to click on your stuff. If you're a manufacturer, you're probably more like 25 cents. You want to be searching by, and you can do this on the Google Keyword Planner. You want to search by volume of keywords, and then it'll tell you the cost per click. Your cost per click, you want it to be like a good starting pitch or ERA. It's kind of what you're hoping for. So somewhere between like 1 to 2. I'm a baseball guy, so now typically a good pitch is 3 to 4, which is a load of crap. But it should be 1 to 2. It should be 1 to 2, and you want a volume of around 8 to 10,000 if you can. Total searches per month.